good evening, people. How are you all? I'm back again with another episode of Mona Lisa's Talk Show. We are already in our season two, and today I have another interesting guest with me. And Facebook is an amazing place, I have to say, because we get to connect with so many authors, poets, and that's how I connected with this amazing poet whose debut book, poetry book, Calms and Balms, has just got released. Let me quickly invite our guest for tonight. Rupali Gaur. Hi Rupali, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the talk show.
Thank you so much.
And I'm so honored to have you today and talk about your book, Calms and Balms, and many other things about you and your personality. That's how we do. We don't only talk
Yes.
about book, we also talk about the author, their life, everything. Tell me, how was your day overall?
Yeah, it was good. A very, uh, you can say, a warm and it was a cozy Sunday, you can say. And it rained over here in Mumbai, so it's much more pleasant now. And
Okay.
I watched the match also, the T20 World Cup match, and it
Okay,
was really a cracker of a match. Australia versus Afghanistan. I think all those who have watched it must have enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a major like surprise when Afghanistan won. Yeah.
I would really request send some rains here because we are really, getting tortured every day. It's really hot. As you can see, I'm sweating already.
Yeah, true.
So let's start the conversation. I really want to know about your early life, your education, where were you brought up, things like that.
I was born in Mumbai, and then I spent some around 4.5 years in Thane, Nala Supara, because
Okay.
my parents they are doctors. They were doctors. Now they are no more, but they were general practitioners, and they had their clinics in Nala Supara. So
Okay.
somewhere my formative years, those 4 years, were spent in really very pleasant rural area. It was very picturesque and beautiful in terms of natural beauty, Nalasopara that time. Now it has flourished into a city, but that time it
Okay.
was a village. And then we moved back again to Mumbai because my parents belonged to Mumbai. And for our education, it was their decision to move to Mumbai. So I was like major part I have spent in a suburb of Mumbai, Borivali. And after marriage, I moved to Thana, Dombivli area, where my husband, yeah, and my husband is into IT. After a few years of marriage, he got an opportunity to work in California, USA. So for around 7 years, we were in California, San Jose,
Okay.
and last year we moved again to Mumbai. Now we are in Mumbai, and all my education, everything, it's from Mumbai.
Okay.
Yeah.
So finally settled in Mumbai, you would say.
Yes, as yeah, for the time being, we can safely say that, and
Okay.
hopefully, yeah,
Nice. So I really would be happy if you tell a little bit about yourself to the audience.
yeah. Now, I was always in terms of writing. You can say I always enjoyed writing somewhere and reading also. And I remember the very first book which I read was of Robert Louis Stevenson. I think it was The Ugly Duckling, which I had got at as a prize from my school in grade 1. It was for some prize for good behavior.
Okay.
And, and then that's how my reading somewhere it was influenced. And when I was in around grade 4, one of my schoolmates had sung a song from The Sound of Music for some singing competition. She had sung it, and she sung it so beautifully. These are a few of my favorite things, and that song somewhere had an influence on me to write poetry, to try my hand at poetry. So I wrote few poems in grade 4, and then that's how my journey into writing and
Writing.
poetry began from there. And then I recollect in my school days, I used to enjoy writing short stories also in my diary. Then even we had we had a very elaborate two subjects like grammar, which was paper 2, and paper 1, prose and poetry in our school. And I used to enjoy languages a lot, and we had this essay writing, uh, complete the story. We used to be given story, write an outline of a story, and we had to complete it. So all those things I really enjoyed. And so somewhere the foundation was laid in school, you can say, and all these things influenced me. to start writing. But then writing was confined mainly to my diary, and very few people actually knew that I was writing. Like my immediate family members knew, my parents, grandparents, my brother, some of my friends knew. And it was somewhere later after marriage, I actually started posting on social media. My husband encouraged me to start a blog on WordPress, and I started posting on WordPress. And from there on, I moved to other media as well.
Okay. But one thing that makes me curious here is that you have been writing from such an early age, but why did you take such a long time to get published? Because I think you must have had written a lot, I guess.
Yeah, actually, what happened is I was also interest. I was academically, I was a very good student, and so I remained busy with other activities like studies, and I also had a good group of friends wherein we used to play a lot after school. So somewhere my focus was had changed, but one thing was for sure: I had two ambitions as a child. One was to be an entrepreneur or businesswoman when I would grow up. And second wish was to publish books, some books as an author. And that time I had not decided what kind of book it would be like. But I used to feel, okay, even if I do something else professionally, then something related to that profession, I can always publish some book. It will be, I always had that wish somewhere. It was then my bucket list somewhere, these two things.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, I've noticed through your profile that you've done an MMS, MBA, and also have a degree in commerce. So, having these professional degrees, why did you feel the need for doing a course in astrology? And I really want to know that was it a choice or like you had this sudden inclination all of a sudden?
That again is somewhere rooted in my childhood. I remember I used to ask people whenever I used to meet people, acquaintances, friends, relatives. I used to ask them, okay, what's your Rashi? What's your zodiac sign? I was drawn to
Okay.
astrology as a child. So some basic characteristics of zodiac signs I knew as a kid, because for my age it was a bit knowing that was a bit too much. Like some people would feel that somewhere around 10 years, 8 years, 12 years kid is interested, and I didn't like my family background. No one was an astrologer. If you
Okay.
see my any every people from my family, no one was an astrologer. So, but I was always interested in the topic. I used to do lots of reading uh, during my college days as well. So once what happened is after spending few months in the corporate world, I felt somewhere that that regular job is not for me, and
Okay.
I left that job after doing a few months, and then somewhere I just switched on one channel, and some astrology program was going on, and again I started writing notes about the subject and reading books. That time my parents encouraged me that why don't you start it professionally, you study it professionally, and then you can start professionally as a consultant, as an astrologer. So I moved to this, actually did a 1 year course from Jyotir Vidyalaya Mumbai. And then I topped also in that course for that subject. And then later on, I started the consultancy as an astrologer.
Okay. So now
Yeah.
you are practicing it, and you also, look people and see people.
Yeah.
I'm not aware how it goes about.
Yeah. Act- Actually, what happened when I was from 2016 to 2023, for around 7 years, I was in US. So there I was
Okay.
on a dependent visa and an H4 visa. So there I was not practicing astrology.
Okay.
But definitely I did keep in touch with the subject. I used to do reading whenever, as and when I would get time apart from other family responsibilities. And it was during this time that I started writing more. As I told you, in 2016, I started the blog, and I started with some sketching also, and I used to post it on Instagram. There used to be some prompts for sketching, and I used to post it over there.
Okay.
So that somewhere sketching and writing developed, you can say, in a parallel way during that period from 2016
And you have
onwards.
also learned tarot card reading, so that is also again something different. Are these things related to each other, or they are totally different?
Actually, they are called, as you can say, some of them call astrology as a pseudoscience or mystical science, occult science. So all these are different branches. And in tarot is it has not originated actually in India. Astrology has, you can say, lots of roots in India, but yeah, so the requirements are different. Like here, birth details will be needed for astrology, well as because we need to make a kundli or horoscope. Well as in tarot, it's all these details, and if someone doesn't have the birth details, but questions everyone will have, problems everyone will have. So that time, tarot, numerology, to some extent also can be useful. Numerology of the name, because we can take if the birth date is missing or they're not sure of the birth time and all birth date.
So all these courses or these modalities, do they make you somewhere more intuitive?
Yes, to a certain extent, yes. And somewhere we have this intrinsic interest also, because we like certain things. Like we are born as, why was I drawn to astrology, and why did I feel the need to ask people what's their zodiac sign, or I would be thinking, okay, this person must be of this sign. What
Yeah.
there's somewhere I was drawn to that subject. I was attracted to that subject. So it's some intuition is there within us, or some knowledge somewhere. I think if we believe in rebirth, it could be of that reason. Because astrology, I think they always, in the Kundli, it's written, it's based on rebirth as per the karma of our earlier birth. So
Okay.
yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, let's now talk about your book, Calms and Balms. So, this is your debut collection. I would be so happy if you tell me what this book is all about. What are the poems all about? And have you divided into any segment?
Yes. Now, Calms and Balms is a very like a poetry collection, and I have divided it into somewhere around 12 sections. And it's every section has is based on a different topic. Like there is one topic is related to nature, then another one is flora and fauna, then
Okay.
another one about mental health, then also about one topic I have named as Desh Videsh, wherein certain national, means our Indian as well as certain international phenomena, they have been covered. And so apart from that, sports also. It has only two poems, but I have made one section of sports. Fantasy section is also there. So it's a different topics I have tried to cover, and
Okay.
made this collection.
And how
And
long did it take you to complete this book and make it a full collection?
yeah, actually, you know what happened? Most of the poems are from the period of 2016 to 2023, somewhere, and some of them might be from 2024. Very few, but most of them are from this period. So, and all of them except one poem, which is dedicated to my father, all of them I have not published it anywhere on social media, anywhere on any of my blogs. It's not there. So it's unpublished, and I've published for the first time in Calms and Balms.
Interesting. Wow. So it's all fresh poems that we are going to get here.
Yes.
And it would be so amazing if you read something from the book.
Yeah, surely. And one more thing, it also has, because the book has 12 sections, it
Okay.
also has 12 sketches. At the beginning of every section, in the beginning, there is a sketch drawn by me.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. Now, this poem which I am going to read is from the section of fantasy,
Okay.
and it's titled If Machines Had Life and Were
Okay.
Emotional.
Okay. Okay. This is page 43. I'll
Yes.
quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, you please start.
Okay. If machines had life and were emotional, machines are emotionless. What if machines were emotional? What if they were happy when they manufactured good quality goods? What if they were sad when they were in a state of repairs? Just imagine their excitement to have a new part fixed to them. The machines would be disappointed, when they would feel rusty and miserable, when they would be dusty. The machines would later regret when they would belittle small sized orders. Also, they would be guilty when they would be a replacement for old, obsolete machinery. Many of these machines would wish to relive their mechanical life's memories anytime before they are sold as scrap, before they are disassembled, before their parts are separated, before they die, and wish that their particles are suffused like stardust in space.
That's interesting. Thinking from the mind of a machine and making them, like an animate object.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. And any other poem you would like to read?
Now, there are some poems I have written in different poetic forms, and I have given allotted a separate section to them. So, from there, I will read one. It's a section
Sure.
4, starts from page 27.
Okay. Page 27. Yeah. So all of the audience who are watching and going to watch this video later, this is the book Calms and Balms we are talking about by Rupali Gaur. You can get it from Amazon. It's available. Go ahead and support an indie author, a self-published author, because that's what this journey is all about. That's why we are doing all these episodes on Mona Lisa's talk show. Let's promote, let's help each other.
Now, there are two ghazals I have written. I will recite one of them.
Sure.
The Wait. It's titled The Wait, a ghazal. Every day, I wait for him, but the sun sets. Amber hues surround the hut. The sun sets. Stars shine and illuminate my heart. A noir reality smothers my gut. The sun sets. The night owl rises to raise hopes. My destiny feels being shut. The sun sets. I wish for miracles in seeking your love. Your hatred is a knife which cuts. The sun sets. Mystical prospects enchant me. I wear an optimistic duct. The sun sets.
Wow. Well, I would like to know because I'm not aware about this format. Like you have written Radif, the sunsets, and then
Yeah.
you have written Kafia, and then Beher. What does this mean?
Yeah. See now, Radif is what we call refrain in English. So it is if you observe the Radif, that is the sun sets, it is the Radif, it is the refrain, and it appears in the opening couplet in both the lines,
Okay.
and then it will appear in the second line, like the fourth line it will appear, and then sixth, that way. And then Kafia is the words which are like rhyming ones, like in every line you will find it, the first
Yeah,
line, second line,
these words,
then the fourth line, sixth line, like that. They are to be placed.
okay.
And Beher is the syllables, the syllable count which we use in other poetic forms like haiku and all. So similar here, there is a range which we can maintain of around 8 to 13. Some ghazal writers, maybe they will go for a perfect syllable count, but here then too we can always write 8 to 13.
So have you learned this kind of writing style?
No, it is actually what happened. I'm also a part of different poetic Facebook poetry groups, and I'm also an admin of some of them. And even in Instagram there are many this accounts who have these poetry writing contests. So from there, they some of them do organize these poetic forms contests. So from there I developed an interest in different poetic forms. So some poetic forms were picked up from these contest challenges wherein I used to participate, and some of them
Okay.
then I found out from the net on my own, like which are the poetic forms I can explore and
Okay.
write.
That's quite interesting. This is more like a potpourri of so many, different things, genres, subgenres. It's really a rich gem, I would say. And I really wish to congratulate you. And I would be so happy that reviews start pouring in, and we will read your book.
Thank you so much.
And let's start with the rapid fire. Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay. What is your favorite thing to do when you have lots of time in your hand?
I like to watch movies and series on OTT, and I like to read also.
Okay. Lovely. I was going through your profile and noticed you have so many other hobbies like badminton, cooking, sketching, photography. So how do you manage all these? Where do you get the time?
Actually, I'm an early riser, so somewhere I get the time. Like
Okay.
even if it's a weekend, actually I always feel like, why do I need? There is no need for me to wake up early on a weekend. But then do I wake up
Okay.
early? Like even if I don't set the alarm on my own, I'll wake up at dawn, so I
Okay.
get more time.
Wow. Nice. Who's your favorite author? International and Indian both.
Amongst Indian authors, I like Preeti Shenoy, Sudha Murthy.
Okay.
These two are my all-time
Okay.
favorites. And among international
Okay.
author of Indian origin, Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. And
Hmm.
Pablo Neruda is my favorite poet.
Yeah, mine too.
Yes,
Okay. So you are a poet by choice or passion?
both by choice as well as passion. Even if sometimes I decide I don't want to write poetry somewhere, then it will chase me and inspire me to write. I'll find something to write about. It will chase me that time.
Yeah, that's true. Poetry finds you.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rupali is a better cook or a good poet?
I think for if you ask this question would have been asked to my daughter, she would say both, and
Okay.
she likes what I make, and
Okay.
so it's difficult to say actually which one. I enjoy doing both, and I think I cook well, so I think and I write well, so both I would say.
Both. Yeah, yeah. I believe you. So who is your favorite Bollywood actor?
Bollywood actor, I like many of them actually. So right from my childhood, it would be Amitabh Bachchan, and then Devanand. Although Devanand belongs to an earlier era, my parents used to watch lots of movies, old movies, even when the earlier ones also. So Devanand and Nutan movies they used to watch. So they are all my favorite actors and actresses from that era also.
Okay. What do you think is a boon in this world of social media? And what do you think that's not good?
Would you please repeat? Like I missed some words, I couldn't hear.
I was asking that what do you think about this social media world? Is it a boon or a curse?
Okay. Now social media somewhere it has both. It's like a double-edged weapon, you can say. It depends on how we want to use it. A knife can be used by it can be used by a doctor to save lives. The same knife can be used to take lives. So it
Yeah.
depends entirely on us how we want to use it. If and I always believe that anything in excess makes a mess, and
True.
if we use it excessively, then it definitely affects our mental health, our well-being, our physical well-being. We become lethargic, then we will unnecessary scrolling we
Yeah.
do, and we waste our time. So which we could have done something else instead. We could have done some other activity which would have been better than that, and straining our eyes. But so it's both ways.
Okay.
So
So
I would also say
do you refrain yourself from too much of scrolling and browsing through net and all these social media platforms, or do you
yes.
limit yourself?
Yes, I do limit myself. Like
That's
normally, I
that's
won't scroll for reels and shorts that much, and only related to my account, what I have to go through, I will go through. That way I do.
okay. Because there are people who believe that this term has become quite famous, FOMO. So people feel that if they are not getting connected, or they're not being part of everything, that constant fear is that they're missing out. So do you believe in that?
Yeah, like if what happens is, if we spend too much time in online, then actually meeting people in person, that reduces somewhere.
Yeah.
So because we all of us have the same number of hours, and then if we devote more time here, then again that time is lost. So we should know how to set boundaries on our social media usage, and or we can just put our phone aside and check the messages or calls after some time. We can always do that. And now,
Okay.
because earlier what used to happen, like there were landlines, so we never carried phones with us. Now because of the mobiles, they're very handy, we have to carry them around, they're mobile. So somewhere everyone has this tendency that if book is there, mobile is there, first tendency will be to pick up the phone and go through it. We'll read
Yeah.
lesser number of pages.
Notifications are a big time allurement, I have to say.
Yeah.
And anything you want to say about this book? How do you plan to go about its promotion? What are your future plans with this book?
Now this is my very first book, so I'm also new now, you can say, like with regards to how to which steps to take and all. So I have a few plans in mind. Like I would definitely like to promote it, because for a as a self published author, and even I've observed people who get themselves traditionally published also, they are taking lots of efforts to promote their books.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So now it's because now what has happened is, apart from the books, not the choice of books which the people have, the reading also, like now people reading preferences have also changed. And this
Change.
poetry
Yeah.
genre is also such that people, it's not as compared to other genre of like short stories, novels. Poetry
Yeah.
genre, you can say that number of readers interested in buying and reading poetry books will be lesser than the ones who will go for short stories and novels and novellas. So that another is another limitation. So, and secondly, also I have future plans apart from this book. I wouldn't like to stop at one book. I would like to publish, write many more books, and in poetry as well as in other genre also. Like I have been writing short stories and essays also, write ups. So I would like to explore those formats as well in the coming upcoming years.
It's true that poetry sells less. No wonder that's true. But you know what I feel? Over the years, like slowly with time, when you have so many other books published, people start to know you, and you never know, they go back and buy some of your earlier books. So it's
Yes.
more like, keep the journey going, keep writing,
Yeah.
keep bringing out books.
Yes.
With every book, you will evolve more. With every book, you will become more into readers. Don't be disheartened at any point.
Right. True.
So, Rupali, it was lovely talking to you today, knowing about many things. Like, I was totally unaware about tarot cards and astrology. I had a slight idea, but listening from you, I gained a lot of wisdom. Although maybe we can do a bigger discussion on this topic someday, only
Sure.
about this. I would love to know a lot about this whole this piece. And also, many congratulations once again for your book. And I
Thank you.
will drop the link in description. If anybody is interested, they can surely pick a copy. And looking forward to more books from you, and a review is soon following. Just a little time I would require.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lovely having you. Bye.
Thank
Take
yeah,
care.
thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, and it was lovely to talk to you. And you're one of my favorite, you can say, personalities of yeah, in the publishing world. And I have
Thank you
read
so much.
some of the anthologies which your publishing house has published, and they are really good, well made. And I'm looking forward to read your work also. I will definitely read your books as well, the ones which you have published as a solo author. I would like to read them as well.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. That would be lovely and sweet of you. And I have to tell you that we have done this method that we are doing 9 episodes with authors and poets, and the 10th episode is a celebration one, and that is more like a closing of the seasons. So during the 10th episode, I will again invite you. So I'll be happy if you again join.
I will try my best. I would love to join, surely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, dear. Bye. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Yeah.
You too. So that was Rupali Gaur I was talking to. This is her book, Calms and Balms. It's her debut collection. Go ahead, pick it, and it's available on Amazon, Flipkart, and all the other online portals, and also, I guess, through the website of the publishing house. This has been published by Evans Publishing, and this episode will be also part of my YouTube channel and also through Poetry Closet on Spotify. So do follow all these social media handles and have a great time. Bye, all. Take care. Mona Lisa Joshi. This is me signing off. Bye.